Hey, I'm Allison. I perform as Mutable Body, and I'm a composer based in Treaty 1 in Canada. And yeah, thanks for inviting me to do this remix and
Yeah,
little collab video.
yeah, of course. Thanks for doing it. Yeah, I was excited to when I heard your set. I forget the name of that show. Do you remember?
Another place.
Another
I
place, yeah.
I have the poster on my wall.
Amazing.
Um,
Oh yeah, I see it there over your arm. Yeah, I was excited when I heard your set at another place. I just I don't know, something just sparked joy. And I was like, yeah, this would be a dope person to remix one of my songs. And Not Sad was kind of the remaining single to release for the year, and I think maybe also the best fit in terms of sound for remixing in general, but also maybe just with some of the stuff I was hearing at your set. So
hmm,
yeah, I'm grateful that you were willing to do it and did such a good job.
thanks.
Yeah. Yeah, of course. Do you want to tell me about your musical practice a little bit?
Sure.
Cool.
Um,
Maybe history and what you've been doing with music for your life too, if you're interested.
sure, yeah. So, I started making music when I was like 12. My
Hmm.
brother started giving me guitar lessons um, in like a basement of an old punk house that was like very moldy, but it always had this like magical air to it.
Hmm.
Um, there was a lot of idealism kind of like packed into even my like early musical experiences. Um, yeah, and obviously like that relationship with my brother. Um, but yeah, so I started a really long time ago. I started on guitar. I ended up injuring my left hand a couple times in like separate instances, like to the point where I had multiple surgeries, and like
Okay.
guitar wasn't really comfortable anymore. Um, so I switched to playing piano. I'm still physically limited in terms of like you know
Yeah,
how how fluently I guess I can do that.
right.
Um, so I was like, okay, well, like being like an instrumental kind of performer is not totally um, like the classic way of being a musician and doing these things is not the path that actually makes sense for like what my body's able to do.
Gotcha. Yeah.
So I got more into making music on a computer.
Hmm.
I got started on like an old program. Well, it's old as in it's been going for a long time, but they still update it. It's you can still get it. It's called Renoise,
Okay.
but it's like an old school tracker kind of program. Like back when computers first started being able to make music, and that
Mhm.
software started getting shared around to be able to like enable nerds all over the place to make music on their like Atari STs and um, like Amigas and whatnot. They used
Okay.
trackers that had like very limited channels, and they scroll vertically,
Mm,
um, where you like put in the note with your keyboard, and then it'll be like, okay, this will be like a C4 over here, and then usually it's based on samples and stuff. So
okay.
you can do drums and stuff with that, but you can also like load a synth onto a channel and then tell it what notes to play, and then it'll be like C4. Then down here, it's sort of like a piano roll, I guess, but it's like
Okay.
the actual old school like early 1900s like vertical style piano roll where it'll
Oh,
roll
interesting.
down
Yeah,
and then
yeah.
trigger the notes, and then you
Gotcha.
have to tell it to stop the notes individually.
Okay.
um yeah, but you can do all kinds of weird stuff, and they're really good for rhythmic stuff.
Okay, cool.
So yeah, like I started on that. It was very confusing, and the music that I made back then is buried on the internet, and I only show it to people uh, once we've passed a certain friendship threshold.
Amazing.
Because it's totally bonkers. Like after the second surgery I had on my hand, like I put out an album on the internet while I was like still on a lot of pain medication, and I just like
Gotcha.
made a whole album and put it all up on the internet, and then like
Nice.
listened back to it later and was like, wow, 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 okay.
Amazing.
um yeah, but anyway, that was all like 15 years ago.
Mm.
um 13, 15 years ago. Yeah, so I went from there to just kind of floating around for a few years, and I would still make music on my computer occasionally, but I
Mm-hmm.
didn't really know what was going on with my life. I like moved to Vancouver for a couple of years, and while I was out
Mm-hmm.
there, um, basically like all of my close friends out there made music. Um,
Mm-hmm.
and it's the kind of scene where like no matter someone's like ability or background with something or like education or whatever, like people just come together to celebrate each other based on where they're at. And
Right.
it's like really special. So having that kind of space enabled me to perform a bit, and actually like start performing sort of regularly, and um, kind of get used to the idea that I could actually make music that would enrich the lives of not just me in my bedroom, but like other people out in the real
Mm-hmm.
world.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and then around that time, I saw the movie It Follows.
Oh
That was
God, yes.
scored by Disaster Piece, and
Okay.
I really loved that movie, and I loved his score. And I started like reading interviews with him and stuff, and it became clear to me that like people could compose music for a living. That is the thing that people
Mm.
do.
Gotcha.
Um, yeah, and like I started to get the idea that going to music school could actually be a worthwhile thing to do.
Gotcha.
Um, so I did that. I spent a couple years brushing up on theory and continuing to like make music, and I was in a band with my my old roommate in Vancouver
Mm-hmm.
called Rage Alter. That was really fun. Um, they would sing, and I would like make make stuff in a pirated copy of Ableton on my like really old, slow MacBook.
Nice.
Um, yeah, and then I got into synthesizers, and I got out of making music on a computer,
Mm.
and I was getting ready to go to music school. And then I moved back to Winnipeg, and
Mm-hmm.
a couple more years went by. I finally got into music school and slowly built up a collection of all sorts of instruments and machines
Mm-hmm.
while all that happened.
Cool.
Um, kind of do this.
Yep.
Yep,
Yep.
there's stuff everywhere. So
Totally.
yeah, I built up my studio, and yeah, basically did music school.
Yeah.
In about 5 days, I will be done school.
Yay.
Thanks. Yeah, 4.5
How does it
years
feel?
into a degree.
Yeah, how does it feel?
It's a relief to be done. I'm very tired. Um,
Yeah.
doing all of that, like as a neurodivergent person, and like in the middle of a pandemic, and like just everything going on in the world, and
Yeah.
just doing it in the first place is all
Yeah.
so much.
University. Totally. University is like already hard for the common person, the common folk.
Yeah.
Yeah. Damn.
Um but yeah, I did that. Yeah, it'll basically be done right away.
Cool.
Um yeah.
And
So
here
now
we are.
yeah, here we are, and now I'm
Yeah.
getting into producing for people and remixing and
Hmm.
slowly looking to build up my like scoring portfolio. Yeah.
Totally. Yeah, amazing. Cool. Well, thanks for sharing all that. You definitely have a really interesting story and like outside of doing this collab post, like personally, it's really cool to hear all that. So thanks for sharing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
What about you?
Um, I have like a sordid history with music. I've like come up against a lot of different things, I guess, that have kind of like hindered me from being able to like play at all or like actually pursue music. Like one of them being like not having the I don't know, like any kind of like family encouragement growing up. And like to be fair, my grandma did buy me my first guitar. And like I was in lessons off and on as a teenager, like very off and on. But it was never treated like a thing that like I could be serious about. So that was like one of my first big that's yeah, like the biggest thing I think that has held me back. And it's nice to hear stories of like people who have had that. Like, you talking about your brother teaching you guitar and stuff like that is really cool. Um, yeah, so that's kind of like, when I was like 11 or 12, I got my first guitar and it was like way too big for me. And like I still have it. It's still way too big for me. It's super loud. It's like huge and loud and it actually has a nice sound, but it's huge and loud which, is just not does not work for me. So yeah, like as a teenager, I did a lot of like covers and played a lot of open mics and tried to do like variety shows at school and stuff like that and was always kind of doing a solo thing um and yeah, I don't know, it always felt like the thing I wanted to do, but I always felt like I had to be looking for like the thing I should be doing or like the thing that was like satisfying enough to like make money or something like that for the rest of my life. So yeah, it definitely my like ability to learn to play and pursue any kind of like career in it was really hindered by that. And then when I was in my early 20s, I had to stop playing completely because of various health issues and advice from the doctor and stuff like that. So that sucked. And I didn't play for like 6 or 7 years. So pretty much like my whole 20s up until like 2021, I guess. So yeah, I like I've done a lot of things in my life. I've like got a degree, had various jobs, like got married, like all these things, and like music just fully was not a part of my life for all of that shit. And then in 2020, I was like about to graduate school in December as well, which is always a weird time to finish your degree because it's like, do I say I graduated this year or next year? I don't know. Um, and there's no convocation or anything like that, which is weird. But yeah, anyway, so in December 2020, I was about to uh finish school and I was like, oh, what am I gonna do? Like I can't really go get a job in person because of really pandemic days. And like I don't feel like I have it in me to like work anymore, like physically. Um my health had gotten really bad and like still being like untreated ADHD and all that stuff. So like yeah, I really felt like I couldn't work. Uh and so I just decided like I'm going to kind of DIY some kind of music degree in the new year. So in January 2021, I started taking like doing a bunch of like online learning basically for music, and I didn't get anywhere near like the level of education if you had a degree, like as I'm sure you have, like so much knowledge and understanding, and like that's been demonstrated in ways that I certainly don't have, which I'm fine with not having all of that, because I think my primary focus now is just songwriting and like trying to make decent songs, and like yeah, I don't know that like I need to have all the musical experience and like knowledge to do that, which I feel okay about. It certainly doesn't hurt. Um, but yeah, I don't know. I think everyone, even like among the most famous musicians and like icons, like um yeah, anyone like Neil Young, Bowie, like all those people, like everyone has such a varied understanding of music and like knowledge, in terms of theory and stuff like that. So anyway, none of that really. That's just an aside.
Oh.
Oh, hello. Who's this?
This is Jelly Bean.
Oh, cute. Hi, Jelly
Hi.
Bean. Amazing.
Hmm.
The best interruption,
Yeah.
always.
Hello.
Cat butt.
You're gonna be famous, Jelly Bean.
You're an influencer now, Jelly Bean.
You're gonna be on the internet.
So funny. Hi. Oh my God. Can they see me right now or hear me?
I think she was probably able to see you for a second, but
Okay.
I think she's getting ready to leave.
Okay. Hi, Jelly Bean.
Bye, Jelly Bean.
A little nudge.
Yeah, just a little bit.
Yeah. Anyway, that was a big tangent on that, but yeah, basically like 2021 started trying to like teach myself, and then I took a songwriting course with Robin Pecknold online, who's Fleet Foxes. I don't know if you're
Oh,
familiar.
cool. Okay.
Yeah, and I think that was sorry, my brain, I'm like, when was that? It was either January 2021. No, it couldn't have been. It must have been January 2022. Yeah, January 2022 is when I took that. And it definitely like opened up a lot for me. And that's essentially when I started writing songs. And yeah, then I like taught myself, recording as much as I can. Taught myself recording and taught myself mixing. And now here we are. I'm just trying to do it all myself, basically. So it's really nice. Like it can feel a little bit, mostly I think I like doing it all by myself. Um, but it can feel a little bit lonely. And like, yeah, I definitely have the odd daydream about like, oh, how nice it would be to have a band. Or like one of my favorite bands is Boy Genius, and when I like see their friendship and coming together over music, I'm like, yeah, that'd be nice.
Hmm. Mm-hmm.
But yeah, all that to say, like it's nice to work with someone else when I can. So working with you on this was good. And yeah, I'm excited to see how people respond to it as well. And yeah, cool. It's been good to work with you, and it's yeah, that's that. And now here we are. Is the end of that?
Yeah, it's been really
Yeah.
good to work with you too.
Cool.
Yeah, I've very often like just been doing things myself in my studio all the time, um,
Hmm.
and have a degree's worth and like multiple years worth of student loans worth of just like fortifying the tools that I have to do things myself that like people don't normally do on their own.
Mm,
Like normally an orchestra is a community of people coming together to
yeah,
make music, not
right.
like a nerd with like a glowing gaming computer alone in a room.
Totally,
um well, not that that is like uncommon or whatever because lots of people do that now too, but
totally.
yeah. um
Feels isolated, maybe.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
even like the degree process, like because I did composition, like everyone's off just writing their own music or they're just doing stuff in their studio, and
Right.
there's nowhere near as much like interaction or collaboration between
Mm,
musicians except for like rehearsals, which is like the last 5% of the process of actually
right.
making a piece happen in the last year of the program. It's not even in most
Right.
of the previous years. Um,
Right.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and even before that, like, yeah, music was very often something I kind of did on my own. And like when I was in high school, I always wanted to like be in a band and stuff. And
Mm-hmm.
sometimes I actually do still like think about that, but um, yeah, just based on where I'm at now, it's been really cool to be able to have like this collaborative process.
Mm-hmm.
And also like get to find these cool interactions between the aesthetics and the kinds of styles that I'm interested in, and um, yeah, just like your own process in your work, and to
Mm-hmm.
like find ways to complement what you're already doing um,
Mm-hmm.
in your own piece while um, yeah, putting something of myself in there to see like just what can come out of it. It's been really cool.
Mm-hmm. Totally. Yeah, I agree. It's been definitely interesting to see the two different, like, yeah, styles, genres, like aesthetics, whatever, kind of come together and see what's come out of that. It's pretty cool. Definitely never done anything like this before. So,
Yeah, me neither.
yeah. Yeah, it was a cool experience and yeah, I'm really happy with the outcome. Like, I think you have like a really good idea of like in terms of when you're mixing something like two things that are so different, um, like you seem to have a really good idea of like what works, you know? Like you could have so easily, I'm sure, like put some kind of sound or like beat or something on the track that would just have been like you love it, you hear it in the music you listen to, and like maybe you've used it in some of the things that you've made, but then it's like, well, does it actually work on this? Like that could have happened so easily, I think, with these two different styles. Um, so yeah, anyway, I just think that you have a good idea of like what works and how to pull off. I feel like there are some musicians, maybe in my kind of genre, or maybe some musicians in your genres, that would like look at a collaboration like this and be like, "Oh, that like how would you make that work? Like that couldn't work or something." But it really did. And I think there are some musicians that I listen to, like pop musicians and folk musicians, who have done similar collaborations, that like have such wonderful outcomes and results. But it takes like openness and like I think a keen like ear. Hi, Jolie Bean. Like not to like talk myself up so much, but I feel like if I could have easily seen your set at another place and not even the remix idea not have even crossed my mind too, you know?
Mm.
So Not that we're like, oh, so different and opposed or anything like that either. but
Mm-hmm.
but yeah, like there are differences, and I think some of the, I mean, yeah, you're working with synths. I don't touch synths like that alone, you know?
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, what do you think?
Um, yeah, yeah, I mean, I totally agree. Yeah, yeah, like that brought to mind a couple things where like one, yeah, sometimes you hear a remix by an artist that's just like they just take everything that makes the identity of the original track like something that um is connected to the originating artist, and they completely extract it and
Mm,
insert themselves in all of those spaces
right,
to the point where it doesn't really sound like the same thing anymore.
right.
Um, yeah, and I mean, I definitely didn't want to do that. And I, even when I'm writing my own music and like working with performers, I tend to have a much more collaborative and open kind of approach than I think is like maybe even the default um,
Gotcha.
in the composing world. But um, yeah, I also like I have a background in doing like improv as well, and I did improv a lot at school for
Okay.
all 4 years that I was there, and there a lot of the training in that is like connected to being able to listen and respond and leave space for
Mm,
the things that you're hearing when you're
hmm.
collaborating. And in that case, like making a texture, what are you adding to it? If you're going to add something to it, like, do you have something to say with it, or are you just doing it because you think you should jump in and say something, even if you don't know what you
Gotcha.
want? Um,
Gotcha.
so I was able to kind of approach the collaborative process with like a pretty similar sort of mindset of like, okay, this
Hmm.
already exists here. There's so much that's like really fun and catchy and like just brilliant about the piece already that I don't want to lose. And there's like
Mm,
a core
I see.
identity that I don't want to be extracting and inserting myself into.
Right.
I want it to be about like what can I kind of add, and if I need to like nudge things a little bit here and there to kind of like make everything feel nestled together without becoming too busy, then I would,
Yeah.
potentially like move some things around a little bit, but it
Right.
definitely, definitely approaching it more as like just a space that I'm invited into to like
Mm.
have a conversation in, basically.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Totally. I can see that. That's cool. It's a cool approach.
Mm,
Yeah. Well, I think it worked.
cool. Me too.
Awesome. Um, yeah, that's amazing. I wish I had more like intelligent things to say in response to that. I think you've like hit the nail on the head, like the conversation between the sounds and yeah, retaining like core identity of the original track while yeah, coming into it as if it's like a space that you've been invited to, like that all really resonates with what I, like witnessed, experienced, heard, whatever throughout the process. So yeah, it's cool. I hope that you do more remixes for people. I think that would be awesome.
Yeah, I hope so
Yeah.
too. This is
Yeah.
a little bit of a shameless plug, I guess, to feel like invite me to do this if you're
Yeah,
watching
totally.
this. Yeah.
Totally. Yeah, totally. I think there's yeah, like some musicians that well, I feel like maybe like indie musicians, like people starting out unsigned, whatever, have small fan bases, whatever it is. that kind of defines them from like whatever big act touring musician kind of thing. Like don't do a lot of remixes for their work. I don't see a lot of that happening. I haven't seen a lot of that happening, like in my own like hometown scene and stuff like that too, growing up, or among like the CanCon musicians that I've followed throughout my life. Like, yeah, I just don't really see a lot of that happening. And it's something that's like so encouraged by all the music gurus online. Like you should have an alternative version to your songs. You should have a remix, stuff like that. But yeah, I don't really see it happening a lot. Not that it never happens, like it definitely does, but um yeah, I feel like it doesn't happen a lot. So it'd be kind of cool to see that happen more. And maybe we'll just trend set on this.
That would be nice.
Yeah, that'd be cool. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'd definitely like to see more of your work like interacting with other people's as well. I think that would be a cool thing to see.
hmm And
Yeah.
on my end, that'd be a cool thing to experience.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, like just because I've invested so much time in, um, building up what I'm able to do myself.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I think that has also raised the bar for what I'm able to do for
Right.
and with other people.
Right.
Yeah,
That makes
which
sense.
I think, I I would ideally want to be doing for and with other people,
Mm-hmm.
even more than I'm just doing it for myself or whatever.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Um, yeah, because I mean, I got kind of burned out on just doing everything on my own all the time, um,
Mm-hmm.
and especially just being in this process. It's
Yeah,
it'd be so cool if this is one of the things I get to bring into a new chapter of my life.
totally. Yeah, that'd be amazing. Yeah, it does get a little bit like it's easy to burn out and spin out, I think, when you're doing everything on your own. Especially, I don't know what your situation is, but I've found, especially when I don't have other people to like listen to my music before I put it out, or like to even just play some of the, like I, I don't know, demo type things, like, or I just wrote this, can I just play it on guitar for you right now? Like, not having that has been really difficult. Um, and I found in the mixing process, especially, I was so spun out because I was like, I've never done this before. I've never really like worked with anyone who's done this either, like in terms of, friends or um anything like that who've, been mixers or whatever. But yeah, I was like, I don't know what I'm doing. I don't know what sounds good. Like the online course I took to learn mixing was like you just need to like trust your ear and like trust your taste, and if you like it then it's good kind of thing. And I was like, I don't fucking know. Like I just don't know. um yeah, it was like so easy to spin out without having like other people around to like bounce off. Like I would play it for my partner and be like, well, what do you think about like this sound or like this part or whatever, like how are the levels, like all these different things, and he'd just be like, I don't know. I got nothing.
The times in my life where I have been able to collaborate with other people on music, it's been kind of strange that they've been so few and far between.
Hmm.
Um, but that like the moments where it does actually happen, it just like feels really special and nice. There are things that
Cool.
I reminisce about quite a bit after the fact. Like
Right.
the band that I was in with my old roommate in Vancouver, like we still talk about it on the phone every once in a while.
Mm.
Um,
Hmm.
or we'll like go back and listen to it and be like, whoa, that was so cool. We did that. And then we had
Yeah.
to stop because they tore our house down and I moved away.
Right.
Um, yeah, I don't know. That's collaborating is just really special.
Totally.
That's kind of all I got on that topic.
Yeah, totally. I feel like it allows you to I don't know, just like marvel in the experience and the process, like even while you're in it, afterwards for sure, but even while you're in it, um, you know, but
Mm.
when you're like solo and working on your own, like I don't know, I just don't feel like high-fiving myself or something.
Totally, yeah.
Yeah.
Um, and like in my experience, even though I've like been able to work through a lot of my self-doubts around my creativity, not that
Hmm.
they're gone, but I've
Mm-mm.
worked through enough to be able to actually just do a thing, even if I feel weird about it.
Hmm.
Um, you know, it just feels totally different to like work on a thing and then the line between it being done and not done is always like so blurry, but then sometimes someone can listen to something and be like, this sounds totally done. You did this in an hour, or like,
Exactly. Yeah.
oh yeah, you worked so hard on this. Like, when is it gonna come out? And being like, it's not done. What are you talking about?
Yeah, yeah,
I
yeah, yeah.
can't show this to other people. But like, no, no, it sounds good. It's done. I
Totally.
I think you can move forward in your process. So I often find that I'm like I get really locked into just like thinking patterns and behaviors and routines, and
Hmm.
that can very often lead to me endlessly working on projects and not
Right.
releasing them. Um,
Right.
so
It's a
it's really
common
cool to be
problem.
like, oh, this thing is done. I'm gonna change it a little bit and add to it, and then that's gonna be done. And then
Yeah,
together we did a thing.
totally.
That's great.
Yeah, totally. I agree. It's fun. And like I mean, by the time this video comes out, the song will have already been released, but the release date is coming up on us quick and yeah, quicker than I realized, I think. But yeah, it's all good to go. And I'm excited. I'm excited for you to see the video too.
Mm.
I think it also like meshes together some different, like visually meshes together some of our differing like styles and aesthetics and stuff. Oh, I see a little cat head. Oh, she's gone now. Yeah, over there.
Oh, yeah, she's on my table.
I
Cool.
see.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think it's just yeah, it meshes the two together. I mean, I don't know if you saw my video for the original song, but
Hmm.
it uses an element of that and yeah, it's fun. The
Sweet.
outcome of it was fun. The stills from it are very fun.
Yeah.
I've
Yeah,
been
with
having a
all of
lot of fun.
the fake blood.
Yeah, totally. Yeah. So yeah, I don't know if I have anything more to say. Well, before we like say goodbye, yeah, I guess I'll just say like thank you for doing this and I'm really excited for people to hear what we came out with and what you came out with and it was really cool to, get to work with you and see your process and how that all unfolded. So yeah, thank you. That's all. Like just grateful.
Hmm. Yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, it feels hard to add to any of that because you said all the things that I was gonna say. Um, yeah, no, it was just a
Cool.
really fun process, and I'm happy we got
Hmm.
to work together. And like, it's just so cool that like like that show that we met at was like a really special time.
Hmm.
And getting us to do this remix was like definitely a big chunk of why it was so special. So
Oh, that's wonderful.
yeah,
Thank you for telling me that.
yeah.
Yeah, I agree. It's you're the first artist that I like in Winnipeg that I've been able to like connect with at all and then also collaborate with. So it's really special to me as well. Yeah,
Amazing.
cool.